Welcome back to the Real Impact Show. I am one of your hosts, the bald one, Aaron Zapata.
And I am the good looking one. I am Don Jax. Thanks so much for being with us to talk all things real estate.
And if you are new to the show, welcome. This is going to be your first time you've heard us. We hope you come back. And while you're at it, why don't you like, subscribe, or share this episode with
Yes.
somebody that you think or that you know needs it. And if you're coming back for a second time, we thank you for coming back for the punishment. I mean, for the benefit of.
And you know someone who needs it. So
That's
please
right.
share this also. Yes.
That's
Yes.
right. We've got a great topic today. We're actually trying to figure out what in the world works today. What's working? What is
Well, there's
working?
one thing with so much noise, Aaron. I mean, what's working? Basics are working. Basics are and still win championships, right? Doing the basics well. And that's what we wanted to talk about today, the basics of the business that actually can win championships, and not a lot of them, just a handful of them. There's only a few things in this business, as we've talked about for years, that really move the needle and set us up for success. And we just want to talk about a few of those today, right? Starting with, and Aaron, my favorite conversation, your favorite conversation about conversations, right? We know we've heard we're supposed to be having conversations in real estate to convert to appointments that turn into dollars and deals and raving fans for us all. And yet, I don't know how many agents a week you ask. How many people did you talk to in the past 7 days? I don't know how many people you ask that question of. I ask that question often, Aaron, and it still to this day shocks me how conversations, the number of people we talk to in this business is still such a small number for most real estate agents out there when it's the lifeblood of all that we do. And the answer is like, oh, I talked to 4 new people this week. I talked to 2 new people this week. I can't imagine why I'm off on my goals, coach. Right? Like it's the same conversation. We hear it, and it's funny because those that aren't off their goal for deals usually aren't off their goal for conversations all that much. And it's pretty incredible how that happens.
I
So
think every agent in that realm and in this regard should figure out one new way per week to get in front of at least 4 or 5 new strangers. Whether it be going to a new coffee shop, whether it be going to a new grocery store, or joining a new networking meeting, or going to a city event that you've never been to, that they happen all the time, whether it be hosting an online live show or Q&A or webinar, whatever the case may be. Every agent should have at least one opportunity per week to go into an arena to meet more people,
it's a
to create more
great,
conversations.
easy, simple way to meet new people, to have more conversations. You're making me think also. Someone I used to coach. I don't coach this woman anymore, but she broke her foot. She twisted her ankle, did something that put her in a boot, and she was a door knocker. How do I go talk to people? Her and her daughter, brilliant. Her daughter drove her to the mall, gave her a stack of 50 business cards. Call me when the business cards are gone, Mom. Talk to you later. She literally sat on the bench at the mall talking to people about real estate all day long when she couldn't walk and knock like she has been for years. What's your excuse again for the number of people you're not talking to, right?
Yeah.
It's
Were
kind of
you,
interesting.
I don't know if you were at the meeting, but um, when we worked back at Century 21, we had gone to an office in Long Beach, and the owner at the time had shared the story about this agent that was now one of her top producing agents. And he said, you know how I knew she was going to be top producer? And I said, how? He said she would take the bus to come to training. And if she had to, she would take the bus to the closest intersection or the bus stop, and she would hop off the bus and go show a home to a new buyer. And she'd come back to the office on the bus. She didn't have a car. and she did what was necessary to get to the showing appointment so she could sell the house.
Yeah, that's
She
right.
figured out a way.
Yeah. We have a choice. Make more contacts. How do I do that?
That's right.
Not, oh, I don't want to. Oh, that's hard. Oh, I don't like that. How do I do that? There's a way if I'm asking myself the right question. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right. Are we
Well,
being resourceful or are we blaming resources or lack of them, right?
I like that. Are you being resourceful or are you blaming your lack of resources, right?
Yeah, yeah,
When you look at your calendar throughout the week, your priorities are revealed. Whether or not you keep an actual calendar or you just go from day to day, kind of doing the same old, same old. If that's you, you don't have priorities. You're just letting life happen at its pace, whatever pace that you're letting it happen. And I know that when I'm looking at different meeting opportunities, and I get emails from meetups, from senior communities, from other real estate agents, from investor groups, I get emails and invitations to go meet people. And I look at that and I think, what in my calendar do I need to move in order to go meet new people? So sometimes you're going to have to move your calendar around. It's going
yeah,
to be one of those little puzzles that you used to get with one missing piece and the picture
yeah.
was all misarranged, right? It's all out of order. And you have to slide the tiles around
That's
one
right.
after another until they come into the proper view. And you're like, that's what I did it. That's what you have to do with your schedule in order to put yourself in the right position to see the picture that you intended to see.
Absolutely.
That means going to new places, whatever you have to do, rearrange your schedule.
Yeah, I love it. You guys, Aaron and I haven't talked about the list of basics, but no, number one into number two, conversations, finding new people to talk to. Where does it show up on your schedule? And schedule's number two as far as basics, as far as I'm concerned. Aaron and I speak about this one all the time, have for 20 years. What is going on with everybody in time management? Why is it so difficult to stay on task? And we say that in jest. We know how difficult and how elusive time management can be for everybody. But man, whose schedule are you running? You're an independent contractor.
Mm-hmm.
You're running your schedule or you're running everybody else's schedule. Tighten it up, everybody. Whether you're a rookie or you've been around 25 years, the schedule is the thing that keeps us focused and on track and doing the things that we said we do when it was nice and calm and everything made sense and not 92 things were coming at us, and then we decide in the heat of the battle not to do the thing we should do. It doesn't make sense to me. However, there's a new piece of this that's coming to my consciousness lately from clients, Aaron. I wanted to talk to you about this. Time management, schedule, using time blocks. I got in this for the freedom. I don't want to be so constricted by a schedule. The estimating of the time it'll take to do a task, whether my mind's wandering and I can't make my calls, or I wanted to work on this marketing project, Aaron, and it took me 3.5 hours, not 35 minutes. Where do you draw the line, right? We talk schedule, guys. We talk schedules all the time, probably too often. But we really guard our time like the precious commodity that it is. Where do you draw the line? How do you do that? Because it's not always perfect and it doesn't fit in that 90-minute time block, 30-minute time block you give it. How do you deal with that?
So, example, this morning, I had a request from an attorney. He needed some, corrections and some feedback and some changes, and I didn't have what I needed in order to make it work. So I literally put each part of the morning into my calendar. So I had to pick up something, then I had to go by the bank to get another part of it, and then I had to finish the report. And so rather than just saying work on report, I had, go to the bank and then work on report, right? And I knew that those are two different parts of my morning, and but both of them were tied to the same event. So that helped me because I know I
Hmm.
knew like I need to be at the bank at this exact time, and be out of there by this exact time because that's all I've given myself. And sure enough, I'm at the bank and the lender walks in, who's the bank branch, lender, and he wants to talk and he's talking, and which is great because I was still waiting on getting these reports from the other person that I was talking to. But, I looked at my clock and I'm like, hey guys, I got to go because no one's going to hold me accountable except for me. And so I left to go to part two, right? I got to get my report done. And then when I got to the office, I was working on the report. And Don, you even walked by my office multiple times
Mm-hmm.
today. And I told you I have not moved my chair.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you
Yeah.
I'm working on something big, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I just blocked out everything. I didn't check
Yeah.
my emails. Except for a text from my wife, I pretty much blocked every text message that was coming in and out until I was done with the report. And it took me 2 hours after I got back from the bank.
Yeah.
And so when something's important, I have to block it out and I have to literally ignore other things. What could I have done in the midst of this? And this is important because if you treat this report that I worked on like prospecting, and your prospecting is as important as this report, here's what I didn't do in that moment. I didn't open escrow, even though I could have because we had one that an offer got accepted this morning. I didn't notify my clients that were opening escrow. I didn't I didn't email back. I had an agent asking me about something else. I didn't respond to them. I didn't update the listing agent on another transaction where my buyer's lender found out that they can't do a loan on this property because the HOA hasn't taken care of their insurance, right? I did not do that during the midst of this. And I've worked with enough agents to know that usually those in our mind become the priorities. Oh, I have to open escrow. I have to notify my clients. I have to notify the other agent that we're running into problems. And they then focus on these tasks that may be urgent but not time sensitive. You see,
Right.
it was important for me to get this report out because it is urgent and not time sensitive, but I needed to do it because it takes priority over the other things that were happening today. I didn't have lunch until 2 o'clock until 1:30 in the afternoon because I had priorities. And as soon as I sent out that report, guess what? Escrow's open, called the other agent, updated them, responded to a bunch of clients on a bunch of different processes and different things that they were asking about, and then went to lunch. So that's how I deal with it, Donna. I literally just turn off the pings and the notifications that are going to distract me.
And that's the answer. And like goal achievement, and I think and I know goal achievement, business planning on our calendar, there's so much correlation between the two. But like goal achievement, where you end up having to say no to 90% or better of the things that come at you to say yes to the goals that you actually have in mind for yourself, our schedule is no different. To
Mm-hmm.
get anything important, quality, great done, you're saying no and ignoring 90, 95, or 100% of other things that are not the one thing we're focused on. And I know because there's so much coming at us normally in a real estate day transaction world, add the interest rates, the lack of inventory, the circus that is our election coming up, and everything else. There's so much to be able to do that for so many people. It's just difficult. It's not impossible. They can do it. We know that. It's what's required. And that's why I asked you the question. I wanted everybody to hear it. It's not something that's a nice to say. It's absolutely required if you want to take it to the next level, if you want to have a schedule worth having and worth being proud of. You have to say no and eliminate the other distractions. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, get rid of the notifications, turn on airplane mode, use focus. You Google phone users have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm sure you have a way to turn your ringers off too. I don't know, but
Mm-hmm.
you've got to do something. And I again just wanted everybody to hear that at the top level, there's no secrets. The mandatory no is the only way to get to the yes that you're actually wanting for yourself,
Yeah.
project or goal. So
I was
awesome
golfing
answer.
with the guy yesterday, and he runs a window installation, flooring installation business for new builders. So they put in floors for a lot of big name brand builders. And he noticed I had my phone, on the course, and I did because I had a number of things that were going on. And golfing to me is not one of those urgent priorities that I need to block everything else out for.
Right.
And so he did say something though, and he said, "Hey, you know, any salesman's going to go through what you're going through. And at some point, you will just realize that 99% of the calls and the things that you respond to are instigated by people who really don't even care about you." And I thought that was interesting. They really don't care about me. They don't respect my time. And he says, once you realize that you can just golf and call those people back, you'll be a better golfer. And,
Right.
he was in a different industry altogether, yet facing the same patterns and the same pressures. So if you are one of those, and I used to be the agent who was afraid of missing a call because you might miss out on that next lead, that makes you a slave to your phone. And it is a terrible slave driver. You feel like you can't do anything without it. You can't leave it behind. You can't rest if it's turned off. If you lose it, you have a panic attack. Um, I realized a long time ago that I don't have to answer every call. I don't have to call everybody back right away. And those that are most important to me, buyers and sellers who actually want to work with me, will leave me messages
Right.
and or send a text, which is what I ask them to do in my voicemail. So if it's important, they'll leave a message.
That's right. That's
And
right.
I've eliminated answering 80. I probably don't answer 80% of the calls I get on my phone.
Same. Same. I was in that conversation with somebody today about the same thing.
Yeah.
Why? They don't get ignored. They get exactly what they need,
Y'all
and
know
it's
it's
not
just
bad
Zillow.
customer service.
Y'all know it's just Zillow trying to sell you on Premier Agent.
That's
or,
right.
or one of those other things, those other.
Because your client
Yeah.
actually honors your time and texts you and asks you if you have a minute to talk, right? Zillow just calls. That's so true. All
Yeah.
right. So I think we beat this one.
This episode's
Sked
not sponsored by Zillow, by the way.
Not whatsoever. All right. So schedule, tighten it up, treat it like a business. You are the master of the schedule. Treat it as such. Next on my list is, and I almost want to start with a story. So I used to work different office a long time ago. I was new in the business, and I saw this guy come out. Aaron, he had this 3x5. The best I can say was a recipe card box
Oh yeah.
holder, plastic. I've told you the story. Busted at the seams with 3x5 index cards held together with a rubber band. And Scott comes bounding out of his office. And I was a young agent at the time. I said, Scott, what's that? And he's putting on his jacket to go out in the rain. He says, these are my leads. I say, your leads? That's amazing. Are you going to call all your leads? Are you going to follow up? Let's go set some appointments, Scott. Even as a young agent, that was my thing. And he says, oh no, this is all their information in case they call me. I'm ready for them. Was not intending to call his lead, was waiting for his leads to call him. I thought it was the funniest thing in the world. I will never forget it. That's not how lead follow up works. I say that because many agents seem to work an equivalent style as that, but they use their CRM instead of their 3x5 box to hold all these leads. And I just wrote down here, you do not have a business if you are not following up at the level you should, or you won't have a business soon. If your follow up is not a 10 out of 10, it's probably a really good idea to stop what you're doing and figure out how to make it a 10 out of 10. The fortune's in the follow up, the money is in the follow up, the raving fans are in the follow up, the communication. It starts from the beginning. And there's no excuse to generate leads and not follow up on them. It is a waste of time. And there are so many leads, what, 200 million leads, online leads sold every year.
Wow.
And we sell between 4 and 6 million homes total in the United States a year.
Hmm.
It's not a lead problem, it's a follow up problem. We're not
Sure.
following up with our leads enough. And I think that is such a basic tenet right? You follow up, you win the championship. You follow up enough, you win the business. Danny out of Vegas called this guy 41 times.
41 times?
41 times, Ernie never picked up the phone.
Let me guess. Does he track and measure?
The 42nd time he picked up, and 3 weeks later, they were under escrow for a $15,000 commission. Not too shabby.
41
Shout out,
calls.
Danny.
Yeah.
You call 42 times to those online leads that you generate. When do you stop? When do you say mercy with follow up? When do you follow up and just say, enough? I don't want to even give it a shot anymore. And the average is what, 1 to 3 times? Probably
Hmm.
the average lead gets followed up on, where the money, as we know, is in the fifth to the 12th contact or attempt.
Yeah.
And if you're not following up, a 10 out of 10. You need to fix that problem, whether it's delegate it to somebody else, clear your schedule of other things that you have to delegate to make the time. It's one of the biggest problems in today's real estate practice that I see.
Now, I know that's nice and all, Don, but let's just be real. I don't want to feel like a nag.
Okay,
And that's what realtors are going to respond with.
I
I just feel
totally
like a
agree.
nag.
I just answer that way, but okay, that's fine.
That's true, right? We have these
Sure.
mental
Is there a
blocks.
yeah, yes,
Yeah.
but is there a question? It's okay to feel like that. Make the calls.
Yeah. Well,
I
how
I
can I?
don't I I
Yeah.
don't know how to get over that feeling. You
But
have to
it's
make
true.
the calls.
That
Yeah,
that's where, people associate negative things with persistent follow up,
they do.
whether it
That is
be
true.
the fact that you're at home as an agent and it's 8 o'clock at night and you're watching a movie on Netflix and all of a sudden your phone rings and you're like, are you kidding me? These dumb people have called me 9 times. And then you take and you associate that exact same feeling to your outbound prospecting. And now you're that bad guy on the phone,
Yes,
even though you have a lead from somebody that raised their hand and said, I have a question about real estate. It's
that's
like,
right.
imagine this situation and how insane it would be. And in fact, how, um, how terrible it would be and neglectful it would be. A teacher in a third grade classroom. It's there's 30 kids and two of them raise their hand. And she picks on the first one and the first one asks their question and she answers it. And then while she's answering it, the second one puts their hand down and she never calls on that second child.
Hmm.
Or she calls on that second child and the second child doesn't realize that the teacher's talking to him. And so he asks again, hey, do you have a question? And it would be neglectful if the teacher who's trying to create a fostering environment of education in the class, if they didn't go back to that kid, say, no, no, you really had a question. No, it's okay. Speak up. No, no, ask. That's what we're here for. And just, coax the child into asking the question that they wanted to ask. And sometimes
That's right.
our clients are like that child. They raise their hand, they put it back down, and they just have to be called on multiple times in order for you to get a hold of them. They're busy, whatever the case may be, so that they can ask their question.
That's right.
So don't be a bad teacher. Don't neglect your classroom. Go after them and get them because you're a good teacher as a realtor. Let me educate you on the market. Let me tell you what's going on. Sure, let's get that question answered so we can take you to the next steps if that's what you want. Be that
I
role.
That's absolutely right. And I think it's just a paradigm shift for ourselves, right? Thinking about I hate telemarketers and bringing that on. You picked a very interesting business to be part of. It is all about communication, whether it's phone, text, email, in person, however that is. We communicate. The one who communicates best wins. Period. End of story. We know that. And I have to suggest how we get over that at some level is totally up to you. But realize the paradigm shift is not in them, it is in you.
Mm-hmm.
It is in us thinking that a salesman is a bugging person over a salesman being a consultant somebody who can answer my question, somebody who can help me out, somebody who can help me get what I want. See, that's how we think of ourselves in the position of sales. If our listener is thinking of them as somebody who bugs somebody, they're not going to make the call. We just don't go around bugging people. That's not what we do. But to find somebody we can help, to find somebody who needs our help, I think that puts a different spin on the same thing. So be careful projecting onto yourself that thought process of salesman bad, salesman bugging, right? It's salesman helpful, salesman getting me what I want, salesman answering my questions, being a guide, a steward of the process, not a closer,
Right.
right? Everybody wants to buy, nobody wants to be sold, comes to mind, but we have to. What's the alternative, Aaron? Are our email campaigns and text campaigns all that clever? I mean, if you have the clever
Mine
ones
are
that are
the best in the
converting
world.
without a personal touch, please let me know. I want to see them all. The
All
personal
I
touch
need.
is required.
All I need. Mine's the best.
All right, so follow up. You're not following enough. We're not making enough conversation. We got to have more conversations. We've got to dial in our schedule. Got to be the master of our schedule. Our follow up's got to be a 10 out of 10, Aaron. And
Hmm.
lastly, I'm sure there's a lot of NFL fans. Probably can put college football in here too. An NFL team, a professional NFL team, college team practices between 40 and 60 hours a week for a 1 hour game. 60 hours for a 1 hour game that doesn't constitute training camp, off season, preseason, 18, 19 weeks, 16, 17 game schedule, 1 week, 40 to 60 hours of practice, of training, of film, of weight room, of field work, 1 hour football game. You go on 12, 24, 52, 164 appointments a year. How often are you practicing? How often are you perfecting your presentation? How solid are you with the objections because of the changes in the industry and ready to talk to anybody at any time around it? Are you role playing to the windshield? Are you role playing to the mirror, to your dog, to your spouse, to your partner? We're not practicing enough in an industry where we run 17% of the US GDP and we wing it as professional realtors so often. The professionals practice and perfect those presentations all the time. We're always going back and forth with what we're going to say in this. Guys, role playing before this call. I get to Aaron and I tell him, hey, we got to get our intro on. I'm stepping all over you. We're bumbling through the intro. And before I could stop talking, Aaron starts role playing with me. I go, no, 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 I haven't pushed record yet. Stop. He goes, I'm just practicing. It's okay. It's a perfect example of we're always practicing, man. We want this to be better, so good for the audience, for the client, for the end result, right? If we're not practicing, we're not getting any better. We're staying status quo. And if we're staying status quo today, it means we're falling backwards and we're not growing with the competition in the real world around us. Continue practicing.
And let's talk about it from this standpoint too, is that you were always practicing.
Mm.
You just may be practicing poorly and rehearsing terrible habits
On your clients.
on your clients,
On your
right?
clients.
Because
Yes.
lack of preparedness is preparedness for the wrong thing. You're
Right.
just preparing to be sloppy and to be, ill equipped to answer the right answer, to answer the questions and to overcome the objectives. You're always practicing. So if you get into
Completely.
that situation and you have not gone through your listing presentation, you have not reviewed it from the start to finish, done a rehearsal, done anything like that, you're just practicing in person,
That's
in
right.
live time, and you're going to make mistakes and you're
That's
going to look
right.
foolish. I was at an event this week and the speaker was introduced by somebody. It was as a lady, and I was in the front row of this event, and this lady had been given the script beforehand, and she a couple days, I think about 4 days in advance and said, this is your introductory script. This is what you're going to say about the speaker. And she gets up there, and about 3 or 4, 5 sentences in, my wife looks at me and she says, she's got this memorized. And so I started paying attention because I wasn't looking. I was looking at other stuff because I'm in charge of the event. And she, and I looked up and I'm like, sure enough, she's got the entire biography of the speaker completely memorized. And she's saying it from memory. So afterwards, I went up to her and I says, hey, Myra, you did a fantastic job. I mean, nobody's ever memorized the introduction to the speaker. And she said this, and this goes along with what we're talking today. She says, well, I kept on practicing on my kids. I kept on practicing on my family. And they said to me, you should just read it, Mom. And she's like, no, I want to do it perfect. And so I practiced it until I knew it. And I went up there and I had the notes, but I did not read them. How did I do? I'm like, you did great. It was fantastic.
How much
And
money did she get paid for that, by the way?
zero,
Yeah,
zero,
exactly.
but it
Yeah.
made an impression. And so
Mm,
when you practice your scripts, when you know the answers to the questions that are being asked right now, when you know the numbers, when you've seen the homes, when you've done all that work to go onto a listing presentation or work with a buyer in a buyer presentation, you've done the scripts, you've done the time, you will impress
right.
because you're not winging it and you're not looking out into the clouds like, I wonder what that is. No, you're not making it up. You know the answers. So know your scripts.
Ill-prepared salespeople give salespeople bad name.
You give
100
sales a bad name.
bad name. It's so true, though. A great salesman, maybe even a little entertaining. You're going to have a good time. You're going to learn a lot, and it's going to get you step closer to the goals you want, whether you're buying real estate or solar or fill in the blank. And I think that's what you just said, a little bit of entertainment and a whole lot of knowing what in the world you're talking about. That is mesmerizing to people listening to you. You go in winging it, I don't know, or making it up as you go along, they're going to kick you out of the house. You're not going to get the business, and you don't last long in a business like this for sure
Right. Right.
with that approach.
Yeah.
We're professionals.
Don, when does the
And
script start? When does the script start in a
hello,
exactly when a new
hello,
client calls you, the script begins in the first conversation.
hello. It's your first hello. It's your first inter. That's my best. Who's the
Mm-hmm.
character? Robin Williams. Um, Mrs. Doubtfire. That's what I was going for. Thank you
Hello.
very much. Hello. The script
It does. It does.
begins then and never ends.
Yeah. So I was
Right.
consulting, and I was doing consulting work this week with a pizza shop owner, and most of their calls come in for ordering pizza. And I said, "What's the
Makes sense.
script?" What do you mean? I said, "Well, when they call, what do the people that answer the phone say?" And he's like, hello, this is the pizza place. My name's whatever. How can I help you? I'm like, why don't we change it up a little bit? Why don't you, and they have a tagline like, and it has the name of the pizza place and it says, you found us, right? And so I said, why don't we say that? Why don't we try it tonight? So he actually tried it that night with his staff and they saw a bump in the revenue. One night,
Amazing.
just trying it, right? Your script starts out when all my team members would answer their phone. And we have to have a receptionist that answered the phone when the phones actually rang. Now they text and call your cell phones. But when they called the office, we would always say, it's a great day at Impact. How can we help you?
Right.
That was the script. That's how you start. It's a great day at Impact. How can we help you?
My
And how do you,
voicemail still says it's a great day to buy and sell real estate.
that's right. That's right.
Still does
So,
today.
so
That's
the
right.
reason I bring all that up, guys, is it's really the script starts the moment you're talking with somebody.
Right.
How's your
Right.
voice? Are you smiling when you're talking? Are you glad got this call? Can they hear it in your voice?
Right.
They know, like they know if you're working from a script and rehearsed, or if you are coming from the deep script that you've memorized and internalized.
That's right.
Yeah,
And you're running a script one way or another. I guess
absolutely.
the question is, are you running one that's getting you the results that you're looking for?
Mm-hmm.
Right? We all have something we say when we answer the phone. We all have something we say when we sit at the kitchen table with the sellers. Are you saying it in the way that's getting you the results? And if not, there's a lot of practice to be done. And if you are, I spoke with someone today that has finally lost their first listing appointment in a long, illustrious career. First loss. And she does 40 to 50 transactions a year. Aaron, she lost her first listing appointment this week
Wow.
to a referral. And she's like, I am thinking about, and this person will remain nameless, thinking about charging for a consultation.
Why not?
I said, that sounds like a wonderful idea. I just want you to
Oh,
hear
yeah.
what I just heard. You've been doing this probably close to 20 years, yes. And you sell 40, 50 plus houses a year, yes. You've won every listing appointment you've ever gone on, yes. Number one, you're not going on enough listing appointments. I said that from a coach's point of view.
Hmm.
Number two, you've lost one, or we could just forget this one, learn from it, and move on and see if we can go another 999 and one. What do you say?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a really good idea.
That's right.
That's a really good, I think that's a great idea too. Let's go.
Well,
Let's go.
because we try to change our script when we lose because we don't know why
Yes.
we lost. And so you're like, well, maybe I was emphasizing the commission too much. So I'm going to talk less about the commission next time. And then you all of a sudden are like, wait a minute, why didn't you address this when we were, in the process, blah, blah, blah. Or you could say, I was too heavy on open houses. I got to pull back on open houses rather than just being you, knowing what your process is, buyers and sellers, what you take them through, and just saying, this is how we do it here and how I do it on my team. And if it aligns with us and what we're trying to accomplish with you, then I think we're going to be a fantastic relationship.
And D, if you're listening, I
Oh,
still love you. Just go on more appointments. That's all. That's
that's right.
all. It's okay. Be you. You're just
Yeah.
not everyone's going to absolutely
Yeah.
dive with everything we all have to say all the time. That's
I love this.
okay. Anyway, I
So
loved it.
okay. I love this script. And I learned it at a CRS conference. And they had a lady from Florida and she does listing presentations. She's a listing agent. And it's the South, it's the Bible Belt. And so oftentimes she's at the kitchen table and they will say, well, we need to pray about it. And she has learned a script and she says, that sounds like a fantastic idea. I'll go ahead and start and you can finish. And she's just going to pray with them right there at the table.
Yes.
She knows it's a delay tactic, and it is. And no offense to anybody that prays, and I am one of them, so I am in that boat. But I have used, I need to pray about it, rather than just saying, you know what, I kind of don't think that's right for me right now. I'm going to say no, and let me kind of figure it out. But we'll use that as an excuse. It's a
That's right.
platitude most of the time, and sometimes it's sincere. I would say probably 50% or more. It's not. So I'm just, she knows that. She's like, great. Why don't we start? I'll start and you can finish. And then you can all let me know what God tells you while we're praying. And
I
she just
absolutely love that.
handles it right there on the spot. It's an
And
objection.
doesn't I just since you said it and didn't ask, the assumptive close with that is so beautiful. There's three of us. This will be better with all three of us. Let me start and you can finish. That's so great.
Yeah.
I'm
And
taking that one on.
we all got a great laugh, but she's like, I'm serious, y'all. Like, that's what I do. And she's like, so what did God tell you? No. Okay, then let's go sign the paper. And so, she gets quite a few listings. That's why she's doing the seminar. So
That's right.
we all have scripts for different situations.
Yeah,
So know your
absolutely.
script, know your objections, know how to overcome your objections, and be successful.
Yeah. And numbers, right? We got to do it a lot. We've got to put the reps in. It's mandatory. The basics win championships with so much noise and so much fancy out there and so much of this and that and the automation, which is obviously so important. We just wanted to remind y'all of the basics. They're still the basics. They're antiques for a reason, right? Somebody's manufacturing new antiques, run the other way, right? That's not how it works. They've been around a while. These basics win championships still today. Hope you find one or two nuggets that you can put together in your calendar, in your life, and see some rewards because of it. We'd love to hear about it. We enjoy the feedback and to hear the wins along the way of you putting the things we talk about into play and having great success in business and life.
And I'm going to end with this that you taught me, Don, because all sports things that I know pretty much came from Don. There are 32 NFL teams that start the year. That's correct, right? 32. We're
I
still at
believe
32.
that's the case. I
Okay.
believe that's the case.
Only one wins the Super Bowl. I almost said World Series. Tells you how bad I am with sports. Only one wins the Super Bowl. They all started with the exact same goal. We are going to be champions this year. We are going to win the Super Bowl. We're going to take it all the way. It's not the goal that makes the difference in your success. It's your ability to stick to and follow the plan and to master the basics. So that's what today's show has been all about, because we do know that, as Don said, if you follow the basics, you win championships.
Win championships, baby. That's what it's all about.
So thanks for
To,
being. Go ahead. Are we going to end?
and now we're going to work on our outro. Hey, put some of this to work.
That's
Go
right.
have some great success. Reach out to us with any questions, concerns, or wins that you have. We're here to support you in everything real estate, and really appreciate your attention and time, guys. God bless. Until next time, be great.
You've been listening to the Real Impact Show with Aaron Zapata and Don Jacks. Please like, subscribe, and share this content with anybody that you might think it benefits. Thanks for being here. Talk to you next time. God bless.